Hey, welcome back. We're going to be working on multiplying fractions by using the algorithm. Remember, once again, an algorithm is basically a procedure for how to, in this case, multiply fractions by fractions. We are still working towards being able to do the 6.ns.1.1 standard where we're going to be working with dividing fractions. So we do have to still understand how to multiply fractions. Now the good thing about this lesson is if you understood the previous lesson, this one's going to be a piece of cake. All right, you're going to need your composition notebook, a sharpened pencil, and you're going to want to write this stuff down. All right, so on the left side of your composition notebook, here are the steps we're going to write down. So what I would like for you to do is pause the video and copy all this down. I did add a part about cross-simplifying down at the bottom because I did mention it in our previous lesson. So I do want you to copy this and go ahead and pause now. All right, so let's put some examples to use. We're going to be writing on the right side of our composition notebooks. Our first example is 7/9 times 3/15. So what we're going to do here is we're going to try the cross-simplifying method. So what I want to do here is I went ahead and drew my first little oval. So I've got the 9 and the 3 within my little circle here. So you're always looking at the diagonal. So looking at these two numbers, you want to ask yourself, what's the biggest number that goes into both of them? That answer is 3 because 3 is the GCF. So what you're basically doing here is you're taking that 3 and you're dividing it by 3. When you do that, you get 1. So I'm going to circle that so I see it better. And you do the same thing down here with the 9. You divide the 9 by 3, and when you do that, you get 3. So now what I'm going to do is just multiply the numbers that I see that I have left over. My numerators are 7 times 1, I get 7. My denominators are 3, so it's this guy right here, times the 5, and I get 15. 7/15 is my final answer because it cannot be simplified any further. Now, if you did it the other way around, where you multiplied your numerators and your denominators, you would end up getting 21/45. So that's okay. You're going to have to then simplify. And I know for a lot of you, you're going to look at the 21 and 45 and say, well, yeah, 21, they're both odd numbers, therefore they don't have any common factors, which really isn't true. Their common factor is a 3. 21 divided by 3 gives you 7. 45 divided by 3 gives you 15. You can see here how we come up with the same answer no matter what method we use, but it is a lot easier to do cross-simplifying when you can because it makes your number smaller and it provides like fewer chances for errors at the end. So you can see that the procedure is identical to what we did in our previous lesson when we were multiplying fractions times whole numbers, except this time we just have whole numbers. We just have fractions. All right, let's try another one. 6/7 times, let's try 7/9. All right, so now in this one here, you're going to notice, and I really want you to look at the diagonal. So look at the 7s and the 7s. If ever you see the same exact number on top and on the bottom like this one, we know that we can easily and quickly simplify these guys out because they're both divisible by that number, which is 7. So 7 divided by 7 gives us a 1. 7 divided by 7 gives us a 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the other set of numbers, the 6 and the 9. Looking at the 6 and the 9, you want to ask yourself, well, what goes into 6 and 9? What is the greatest common factor? The greatest common factor is 3. So if I do 6 divided by 3 and 9 divided by 3, let's go up to the 6. 6 divided by 3 gives me a 2. I'm going to write it and circle it. 9 divided by 3 gives me a 3. I'm going to write it and circle it. So now, notice how I have a lot of things crossed out, a lot of circles here. So be sure that you do write neatly and not teeny tiny so you can kind of see what you did. So let's multiply our numerators. On the top, what we have left is a 2 times a 1. That gives us 2. On the bottom, what we have left is a 1 times a 3, which gives us a 3. So you can see our answer is 2/3. If you did it the other way around, you're going to end up getting 42 over 63. But who wants to take the time to simplify that guy? Yes, you can do it, of course, but I think it's much easier to really practice the cross simplifying. I know you guys can do it. So let's take a minute or so to practice some word problems. In this word problem, it reads, Frank had 1/2 of the lawn left to mow. On Saturday, he mowed 2/3 of what was left. What fraction of the entire lawn did Frank mow on Saturday? Okay, so what we have here is the keywords of. If you notice, they show up twice. Here's the keyword of, and here's the keyword of. And what I had said was, whenever you see the word of, it means that we're going to definitely multiply. So what we need to figure out is how much of the lawn Frank had to mow on Saturday. So we're going to set up our multiplication problem. Now, the good thing with multiplying is that it doesn't matter the order in which you write your numbers, because you can multiply in any order and still get the same answer. That's called the commutative property of multiplication. But we always want to still try to set the problem up properly, because it'll help when we get into our division. So what Frank did is he had 1/2 of the lawn left over to mow. So he had 1/2 of, there's your 1/2 of 2/3. Now there's nothing, not there's nothing, but we can sit there and cross simplify. So if you look at the diagonal, look at those 2 2s. Notice how I said whenever you have the same set of numbers, you can easily cross those guys out. So 2 goes into 2 ones, 2 goes into 2 ones. Now let's look to see what numbers we have left over. Our numerators are 1 times 1. Our denominators are 1 times 3. That gives us 3. And then you're done. The part of the lawn that Frank had left to mow is 1/3 of the lawn. So let's try one last word problem. So on this word problem here, it says Rick has 1/2 of a foot-long sub left from yesterday. He ate 1/3 of the leftover sandwich as a snack. What fraction of the entire sandwich did he eat as a snack? Okay, so he had, first of all, 1/2 of his foot-long sub left over, and he ate 1/3 of it. So remember, of means to multiply, and in this case, I'm going to use the multiplication dot. Remember that multiplication can be shown a couple different ways, with parentheses, the x, the multiplication dot. This time, it just occurred to me to use the dot. So we're going to go ahead and do 1/2 of 1/3. All right, and this is it. Multiply your numerators, you get 1. Multiply your denominators, you get 6. So he had 1/6 of his entire sandwich left over to eat as a snack. All right, now it's your turn. I would like for you guys to go ahead and complete the self-quiz. Once again, you can find the link for the self-quiz directly underneath the link that you pushed for this video lesson. And that's it for now. We'll see you back in class.